when they immediately saw me, they were like, girl, you are definitely not in labor. So just lay down on me, let your love just fall like rain, just rain on me, just rain down on me. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If it is your first time here, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you do consider subscribing to become a part of this growing family of mine. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so please do the most and subscribe. So today I'm back with another video, and I will be sharing my birth story. I actually didn't think I would be able to share this with you because it was a bit traumatic for me. But you know what? I think it was traumatic at the time because I was looking at it from a different perspective compared to how I look at it now. So I think my perspective has changed a lot from that time, and that's why I think I am actually ready to share it with you guys. So buckle up because it is quite lengthy. Sit down, get comfortable, get yourself some popcorn if you must, have a cup of tea, and yeah, let's get into it. So my due date, according to my last menstrual period, was the 3rd of July 2022, and I actually ended up giving birth a day later, which was on the 4th of July 2022. So Saturday, 2nd of July, I woke up and I felt some sensations, like I felt something was happening in my stomach, but I couldn't quite figure out what was happening. I was not in any kind of pain or something like that. It's a feeling that I can't describe, but it definitely felt like something was about to happen. Yeah. So I continued about my day. I proceeded to do whatever I was doing on the day, and everything was fine. And then later on in the evening, around 6, I think, that's when like the sensation that I was feeling was starting to become like more frequent, and it felt like it was actually developing into something else, but it was still okay, it was still manageable. So I just chilled, watched some TV or whatever I was watching at the time, and then around 9 p.m. that's when I actually started to feel some pain. So I just sat down. I took my yoga ball and I sat down, and I was like to myself, okay, let me just sit down and listen to myself, listen to this thing that I'm feeling, you know, and like kind of try to figure out what's happening right now. Okay, so I sit down and I chill, and then I feel this thing. It comes and it grabs me for some time, and then it lets go. Then it comes back again, then it lets go. And then I was like, okay, this is definitely a contraction. I am definitely experiencing contractions right now. And according to what I had read and according to what I'd heard a contraction should feel like, this was definitely a contraction. Okay, so now I'm sitting and I'm just listening to this page, and I actually ended up not sleeping that night, and I really wish I did now that I look back at it, because wow. So I think I was talking to my partner throughout the day. By the way, I was at home and it wasn't actually a part of our plan. So the plan was, I was actually meant to be at my partner's place, and then from there we would leave to go together to the birth center where I was meant to be giving birth. But unfortunately, it didn't happen that way, because he got into an accident towards like the end of June, and the car had to go in for repairs. So there was no way we were gonna be able to get to the birth center, because he stays all the way in PTA and the birth center is at Roodepoort. So there was no way we were going to be able to travel from PTA all the way to Roodepoort while I was in labor. So we made a decision for me to just go back home, and then when it was time, I would contact him to let him know, and then he would make his way to the birth center where we would meet, because my place is closer to the birth center anyway. So that's why I was home. Right, so I was talking to him throughout the day, and then I told him that I was feeling some sensations, but I then later told him that okay, those sensations that I was feeling have actually developed into contractions. So I don't know, but I think I might be in labor. But I told him that I'm still home, so I would just like, of course, let him know of the progress and how I was feeling, if the pains were getting any worse, and whatever. Alright, so I eventually sent a text to my midwife and I told her what's going on. And she was like, no, it's okay, just try to get as much rest as you can. Take a hot bath, a warm bath if you must, and time your contractions if you can also, and just let me know how far they are the pains getting worse, and all of that jazz. Okay, so I did all of that, and I got into the bath and I took a warm bath, tried to relax, tried to breathe in and out, and everyone in the house at the time was asleep, so I was actually up all by myself, but I didn't want to wake anyone up yet, because I felt like I was still doing fine. I was still coping. I was not in too much pain. So yeah, I just wandered around the house all by myself, and then it was eventually morning. Now it's Sunday, the 3rd of July, and I think I made myself a cup of tea. It's around like 5 a.m, 6 a.m. I made myself a cup of tea and I think a sandwich that I actually didn't end up eating. I went and I sat in the living room, and then I think my mom heard me, and then she woke up and then she asked me what was happening. I then told her that I was experiencing pain, but it was nothing too hectic, so I'm just really still trying to figure out what is really happening. Okay, so I decide to take my yoga ball and just like bounce on it, or yeah, just anything to make the pain less, to make the pain kind of feel better. So yeah, like I say, the pain was still bearable, so I guess it was nothing to worry about at the time. So yeah, and then my mom came and she sat with me, and I was just still like bouncing on the ball, and yeah. And what happened then? I think I was still talking to my midwife, and I think there was a time when the pain just suddenly went away actually. So yeah, I sent them a text and I told them that okay, I actually feel a lot better than what I was feeling, and it seems like the pain has subsided, so I think I might just take a nap and then I'll let you know if anything happens. Okay, so I decided to go in and take a nap, but also I felt like I was wet, but nothing was coming out, but it felt like I was wet. But anyway, I went to take a nap. I took a nap, and then like I couldn't sleep because it felt like I say, it felt like I was wet. So I woke up, and immediately when I stood up, I see a bit of water dripping down my legs, and I'm like, hi boom, is this my water breaking? Yeah, well, and I'm just like, I think I went to my mom's room, and I'm like, I think my water has just broken. Yeah, well, so I send a text to the midwife again, and I say, I think my water is broken. And then she asked me, is it clear? Is there anything else that you are experiencing? And I told her, no, it's just the water, and it is a clear fluid. So I don't know if I should come or what should I do. And then she was like, no, as long as you're not in like pain, you can still like try to rest and stuff. Yeah, well, okay. So yeah, I think I just continue to rest, I guess. So at this point, my contractions have totally stopped. Like, I wasn't feeling any pain, which was kind of weird, because now I'm like, okay, what's happening? So I tell them, no, the contractions are very like far apart, so basically that's what's happening now. And then they're like, okay, no, it's fine, you can come in just to do like a CTG, and then we'll take it from there. So a CTG is when they put those belts around you to check the heartbeat of the baby and just to monitor your contractions. Okay, so I went together with my mom at the center, and I took my hospital bag. Yeah, well, and I was completely fine at this time. The pain was like very, very minimal. It was very minimal. So we went to the birth center, and we got there, and when they immediately saw me, they were like, girl, you are definitely not in labor. You're definitely not in labor, because if you were in real labor, you wouldn't be as relaxed and calm as you are right now. And I was like, okay, but something must be happening, because I obviously didn't sleep last night. So if this is not labor, then what is the real labor actually meant to feel like? Yeah, bom. Okay, so we go in, I get on the bed, and then she does a cervical check. I think it's called a cervical check, né? And it turns out I was 1 centimeter dilated. So that was very, very disappointing. They checked the baby's heartbeat, everything was good, and then they were like, listen, you are very far from where we want you to be, because normally they would ask you to come to the center when you're around 7 centimeters dilated. So they were like, just go back home and girl, just rest, because it's still a long way to go. So obviously, as a first-time mom, you don't know what to expect, and I wouldn't know this is the pain I'm meant to be feeling in order to be like 7 centimeters dilated or to be in active labor, because I don't know, I'm a first-time mom, ever. So we had to go back home. And I'm still communicating with my partner, and I told him that, okay, because I told him to come as soon as they said we should come in. I told him, just come, because when we get there we don't know what's going to happen. So we actually ended up getting sent back home. So I had to tell him to go back home, and imagine he was coming all the way from PTA. So I'm like, listen, I got there and they told me I'm still 1 centimeter dilated, so they sent us home, unfortunately. Okay, so we get back home, and I don't know, I don't remember what I was doing for the rest of the day, to be honest. I just remember it being evening time, and then the pain came back. Like, it went from 0 to 100 real quick, and this time it felt, yeah, you see, the pain that I was feeling this time was like, let me say, the level went from level 1 to level 4, 5-ish. So it was definitely worse than the pain I was experiencing the day before. So I kept on timing my contractions, and they were really pretty much close together, and I was just trying to breathe in and just relax and walk around, and because I didn't want to go back there and then be told that you're still far from where we want you to be. So I tried my best to relax and just rest and get as much rest as I possibly can, but I couldn't, like, not with how I was feeling, because I ended up not even being able to eat supper. So once I'm not able to eat, just know that I am in pain. I am in absolute pain. So, and then I text them again and I tell them I can't. This thing that I'm feeling, I think the pain has just actually gotten worse. So they asked me if I would like to come back, and I looked at my mom and I asked her what should we do, and then she was like, hey, I don't want you to give birth here, let's tell them we're gonna come. So I'm like, yeah, I'd actually like to come back. And then they said, no, it's okay, we can come back. And it was 12 a.m. in the morning, 1 a.m. around those times when we went back to the center. Okay, so we go and then we get there and then they do another cervical check and I get told I am 3 centimeters dilated. So it went from 1 centimeter to 3 centimeters, which was actually still pretty disappointing. And it was disappointing because with the pain that I was feeling, I was thinking maybe sengihamba kokunga 6 centimeters or something. Kanti isase ku 3 centimeters dilated. Okay, so we ended up just spending the rest of the night at the center, and then they were like, okay, no, it's fine, you need to be active, you need to move around, you need to bounce on the ball so that we can get labor progressing essentially. And then they were like, yo, you can put on some music just to relax. They made the room smell like really nice, so that was very nice. So I sat on the yoga ball and I just tried to relax and just take the moment in, try to breathe in. But let me tell you something about trying to breathe in when you are in labor. You know, they'll tell you that as soon as you experience a contraction, try to breathe in and out, but it's kind of impossible to focus on breathing when you're in pain, because it's like, how am I supposed to breathe when I'm experiencing this pain? And it's just I couldn't, guys. So the only thing that was helping me was just moving around, being active. So I just kept walking up and down the room, and then when I was experiencing the contraction, I would just like hold on to the bed, try to breathe in and out, and then carry on walking up and down, and that's literally all I could do throughout the night. They left me and my mom alone, but they just kept coming back in to check the heartbeat of the baby, and so it was just me up and down the room the whole night. And they also gave me an energy drink. I drank it, I finished it, but I actually ended up vomiting, so it all came back up. So yeah. And then they told me to try and get some sleep, and then I tried. They put a peanut ball in between my legs, and they were like, just try to get some rest. So a peanut ball, if you don't know, it's just a little ball that they put in between your legs to try and get the baby's head to go down. So yeah, I did that, and I tried to sleep, guys, because remember, I didn't sleep the previous night, and now I'm not getting any sleep the next day also. So I was very, very much exhausted at this point. Kamo, it's the pain, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So I couldn't sleep that night again, and now it's morning, and it's now the 4th of July on a Monday morning, and they come back and they check me again, and I'm still 3 centimeters dilated, guys. I'm still 3 centimeters dilated. At this point, I don't know what to do with my life. I I really don't know what to do with my life. So okay, I wake up and then they were like, you need to continue walking up and down the passage, you need to do some squats, you need to do everything that we can to get labor progressing at this point. And I'm like, in my head I'm like, it's gonna be a long day, it's gonna be another long day. So thing is, baby boy was like, every time they would check, it appears as if he was sleeping. So baby boy so that was another thing. And then they told me that I need to just be active so that I can wake him up and stuff. So we wake up, and then I walk up and down the passage. I'm trying to do some squats. My mom is massaging my back. And it's just a whole tedious process of, yeah. So, but now, the pain is getting worse, but I'm not dilating. So ipain iyakhuphuka, but there's no progress. Yeah, well. So I tell my partner that he needs to come to the center because whatever happens, I'm giving birth today. No matter what, today is the day this baby's gonna come. Yeah, well. And then they say I might give birth like later on in the evening or something like that. And mind you, the time, it was still like in the afternoon when they said that. So that's when I knew that it was going to be a long day. So yeah, I just kept walking up and down and just trying to be active, rolling on the yoga ball and so forth and so forth and so forth. And then they checked me again. I don't know how many hours later or whatever the case is. They checked me again and I'm still 3 centimeters dilated. I'm still 3 centimeters dilated. So this is when so remember when, okay, this is when they decide to break my waters. So remember when I told you that I felt like water dripping down my legs before I went to the center. So when we got there, they told me that my water actually hadn't broken. So yeah, so that's when they decided to break my waters. And then immediately when she broke my waters, I went up to 4 centimeters dilated. And then after they broke my waters, I put on this gigantic pad, obviously, because now my waters have broken and I was basically leaking water. Okay, so I put this pad on and I carry on just walking around, yeah, walking up and down, trying to breathe in and all of that and all of that. And then there was a point when it felt like I needed to do the number 2, but nothing was coming out. I just kept on vomiting for some reason. So they made me a peanut butter sandwich and it just came back also. So, but apparently when you vomit in labor, it means that things are happening and labor is progressing. So I don't know if that is true because my labor wasn't progressing at all. So I carry on walking up and down. Yo, one thing I neglected to tell you is that once they break your waters, boy, the pain. So now, remember I said I said the previous day the pain went from level 1 to level 4, 5-ish. But after they broke my motor, the level went from level 5 to 10, all the way to 10.